Last thing, for anyone that didn't attend MFA Live, I know you got it next year again.
Yeah.
What do you want to tell those people about why they should come?
Because it's the single best marketing education that you'll get anywhere. I don't say that lightly.
We would agree. So.
Second that big time.
Yeah, you'll walk away a completely different marketer. Like it's there's a reason why, this year, we'll probably do it again next year. We ran a double your money back guarantee. We said that pay for your ticket. If you don't love it, let us know. I'll give you double your money back. You stay for the whole thing, enjoy it. I'll give you double your money back. Of course, we didn't have a single individual that asked for their money back, and that's just because I believe truly, and I'm blessed to be able to say this, that I think that we understand marketing on a different level, and we don't pander to the desire for just quick fix tactics. What we're all about and why you want to be at MFA Live is because this is all about creating a home run funnel that could change your business, change your life, change your income, change your entire path, and so you should be here.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Christian Cotta coming to you live Friday afternoon for the Lead Mode Show. Thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate it. This is our second episode, and today my good friend, my partner Dallin Greenberg, and I are going to bring you guys some incredible dimes from this last week. We spent 5 days in Miami, Florida for one of the best online marketing live events on the planet. And I don't say that lightly, because these are some of the top guys, the guys that are crushing it, that are doing 100K month funnels, that are doing $1 million launches. And so if you're online, if you're trying to generate leads and sales for your business, we're going to share with you some behind the scenes and a recap of what you missed from this last week's event at Marketing Funnel Automation Live. So with that, let me bring in my buddy, my compadre, Dallin Greenberg, and we're going to jump right in to what took place at Marketing Funnel Automation Live. So Dallin, what is up, my man?
Everything. This last week put a lot of things on our plate and got our brain really spinning, a lot of ideas and things that we can incorporate in our agency that we have going here. So
in our business, and also what everyone watching right now, live and on the replay, can probably incorporate in their business as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So let me ask you, I just want a quick second, because I know this was your first live marketing event. Anything, first time coming to something like this. Give me your thoughts.
Well, I've been to a lot of other events, because years and years in sales, I've been to a lot of hoorahs and yeehaw, conferences, right? But this was a little different. So it was a little less of the gung-ho, super exciting. It was more strategies. It was tactics. It was updates with what's going on different social platforms. It was what the pros are doing. And it was really cool to associate and be there and see what a lot of people are doing. I mean, we had people from Poland there, from Australia there, all over the world. And it was really cool to kind of see and mingle with a lot of these guys. I mean, that was my biggest interest being there, was really to see that dynamic and to see kind of how people were incorporating a lot of these different methods in their own niches, right?
Awesome. So before we dive into sharing with you guys the content that we took away from this show that we're going to be applying to our own business directly, and what we hope that you guys will get from today's show, a couple of housekeeping items. So the first things first, if you're watching us live on Periscope, swipe right on that phone, swipe up on the Android, and share this out. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, whether it's a replay or it's live right now, this stuff that we're sharing with you guys can help save a lot of people from heartache, frustration, wasted money, late nights, bad relationships from working too many hours, all that stuff. So do us a favor, click the little button that says share, and let's share this out, because really the point of this is that if you didn't know about this event, if you are just starting out, or if you've been in this for a while and you couldn't attend, we're here to give you guys the Cliff Notes live in person today from 5 of the top speakers, top marketers that were there presenting, as well as give you our takeaways. So let's do that right now. Click the little share button. Let's take care of that. And with that, why don't we dive into really the first person, day one, when we got to MFA Live. There was a private intensive with Ryan Levesque. And for those of you that don't know Ryan, Dallon's going to hold up the book. You've probably seen a Facebook ad with a picture of this book on it. And so Ryan spent the last couple of years building a huge email list to market to. And I know myself personally, I've read this book about 2.5 times. I won't say 3 because I haven't finished it the third, but 2.5 times. And I was wondering, when is he going to come out with a program? When is he going to come out with something other than the book? And so that happened last April. And last April, he did a 5-day launch that netted $950,000 in 5 days. But what was even more impressive was that he knew that there was leaks. He knew that his marketing campaign and his funnel had leaks in it. So he walked us through day one, what he did to up level it. And so when they relaunched in July, they did $3.5 million in 5 days. They went from 950 to 3.5. And so there's one major key to how they did that. We're going to talk to you about what he said were kind of the 3 main areas to help you do this. But the overarching thing that we want you guys to hear right now is where the future of online marketing is going. And that is segmented funnels and segmented marketing. So let's jump over to that interview with Ryan Levesque. What's up, guys? Christian Cotta here, and I'm with Ryan Levesque, New York Times best-selling author of The Ask Method. So I want to just ask you, Ryan, we see more and more in marketing this concept of the survey and what you call segmentation marketing. Sure. And what do you think the reason that it's becoming more and more predominant is?
Absolutely. So, we see segmentation starting to finally take off online. And I think there are a couple reasons for it. The first big reason is our psychology. We are hardwired to look at the world in terms of buckets. So whenever we look at anything, whether it's the colors of the rainbow, we don't think in terms of a spectrum. We think in terms of finite buckets. And we spend all of our lives, from children to the time that we're adults, thinking about how can we categorize things into different buckets, right? We've got friends, we've got colleagues, we've got relatives. Everything fits in a neat bucket. And what's interesting about this is kind of how we look at ourselves as well. Like, we actually want to fit in a bucket. And so when your customers arrive at your website, it's very natural for them to want to know 2 things. They want to know, what bucket do I fall into? And knowing my bucket, what is the one thing I should do next? Now, big brands, they've figured this out, right? You go to the grocery store, there isn't one kind of spaghetti sauce. There's like 50 kinds of spaghetti sauce, right? What kind of person am I? Am I a spicy spaghetti sauce person? Am I a tomato and basil person? So
Merlot?
Exactly, right? And so the days of selling a single product and speaking about that product in a single way to all customers, those days are behind us. And so I think what's happening now is that online marketers are finally catching up to the fact that this is what's happening in the mainstream, and businesses that don't segment, that don't bucket, are going to be left behind.
Awesome. So one last thing, if there was somebody that's kind of new to marketing, what's the one piece of advice you would give them to be able to start implementing something like this?
Absolutely. So for someone who's just getting started, really the biggest question you want to ask yourself is, who are your buckets, right? So if you serve a specific group of people, within that group of people, what are the different subgroups that exist? What are the different buckets that exist? And the best way to figure that out is to run something that we call a deep dive survey. Deep dive survey is simply a 1-question survey, an open-ended question, where you ask people, what's the single biggest challenge that you're running into relative to whatever it is that you
$1 million question.
Yeah, exactly. And then ask that challenge question and you analyze the open-ended results, you start to see themes. You start to see that there's some people, a group of people who answer it this way, a group of people who answer it this way. Those are your buckets. Once you know who your buckets are, then you can begin speaking to them differently. So it all starts with the deep dive survey.
Awesome. So if you guys want to learn more about segmentation, marketing, survey funnels, and what Ryan is mentioning here, the deep dive survey, you can find the book Ask, or go follow Ryan online, and definitely join us at the Lead Solution. So that was Ryan Levesque giving us his breakdown and explanation as to why we see the future of online marketing, and really those who are going to have the most success are going to start incorporating some aspect of segmented marketing or segmented targeting or segmented funneling. And so I want to just address real quick. I know Jenny said she totally saw that book down. You want to hold that book up one more time, just for anyone that jumped in here. So you've probably seen this book. Yeah, Jenny, I know myself personally, that book followed me everywhere until I bought it. And so I know Dallin's getting ready to read it now. Megan, what's going on? It's good to see you here. But let's talk about this real quick, Dallin, because you knew who Ryan Levesque was, but I don't know if you really knew who Ryan Levesque was.
I didn't know how he was so ingrained in the psychology of things. I knew he was a marketer. I knew that he had some great tactics, strategies that he was using, but I didn't know the depth of his understanding of the psychology behind a sale, right? Or a process of getting a sale. Now, what I love most about this is it's literally what a lot of people do without understanding or knowing this new concept of buckets that he was talking about. It's really the best way of breaking down a client or a potential client, right? It's one of the first things that a lot of people learn in sales is it's question-based selling, right? And so how can we take that method if we're not one-on-one with someone all the time, right? If our business is online, we want to have a really, really big, broad audience. And so what Ryan's done is he's really narrowed down this really good idea, this concept of being able to do a method or a process of question-based selling, almost like a survey, right? And so we can take quick responses of where we want to guide someone in the sales process, put them into these buckets so we can take that data and really make the experience really catered and really well for them. I mean, it's very, very clever, very good on his part of creating something like this.
So one of the things, and let's give three takeaways. Megan's saying that it makes total sense to cater to one audience, but it goes even deeper than that, Megan. And so what Ryan taught us and what he talked about here at Marketing Funnel Automation Live was going a little bit extra. So you don't have to, it's not necessarily cutting out everybody else and focusing on one audience. It's understanding what buckets your overall audience falls into. And so you may have three primary things or three primary perspectives that your audience and your potential customer and your prospects look at, but then you talk to them in broad generalities. And that's what Ryan is really honing in on here with these buckets. And so I want to share with you guys real quick the three things he said that you can customize inside of your marketing campaign to make your entire campaign feel customized. So you're not necessarily creating individual marketing campaigns and individual funnels for all these segments of your audience. You're just make your entire campaign feel customized. So you're not necessarily creating individual marketing campaigns and individual funnels for all. Okay, and with setting the frame, it's talking about demonstrating a sense of empathy, an understanding for what the problem is that segment of your audience is dealing with. So if they're struggling to, get their Facebook ads to work, you're talking to that specific audience saying, I understand what it's like to spend money on Facebook ads and not have anyone click on them. If part of your audience is having success with that, and now they're coming back and they're trying to grow their email list, you're speaking to them. Are you having a hard time getting your email list to go from 1,000 to 10,000? That's dealing with them and speaking to them and demonstrating that empathy. Now, the second thing that he talked about here is case studies. So a lot of times, if you've ever signed up for a digital course or you've signed up for somebody's coaching program and you've seen case studies, you heard them, they made sense, but it wasn't really what your problem, what you were struggling with. And so just like we demonstrate that empathy, we demonstrate speaking specifically of the problems, you find people and case studies and you send those to those buckets. And then the third thing, the bonuses. So if you're creating digital products, if you're adding some bonuses to a bundle or a package for e-commerce type stuff, how can you present a customized bonus to a specific segment of your market? And if you're creating one for each bucket, you over deliver by giving them all of them. So those are the three things that Ryan talked about in regards to customization. Now, I want to address a few of our live viewers that are commenting here. So Megan says, I can't cater to one. It has never made sense to me. Well, Megan, when you start to understand this concept of segmentation, then you have the ability to ask a few, what Ryan calls a deep dive survey to get people to open up and give you more information. And it becomes easier to understand what those segments are. So we could talk about this whole entire topic for one whole show, but I just want you guys to understand that. So I want to dive into our second interview where we go a little deeper in understanding content. And so our second interview was with Steven ESKETZIS, the content director for ClickFunnels.
We're here with Steven ESKETZIS, the content director for ClickFunnels, right?
That's it.
And we're live at MFA 2016, Marketing Funnel Automation. So, Steven, I just want to ask you from a content director standpoint, and we're here at this event talking about how to create that $1 million funnel.
Yep.
What piece of that funnel would you say content plays?
I think content, the most important part of the funnel is that preeminence that you get. So, you need to make sure that you're pre-framing whatever the person goes into the funnel properly with. So when they get to the funnel standpoint, they need to be pre-framed the right way, and content's the piece that does that. So, if you're talking about your ad or if you're talking about your article lander, before they actually reach the funnel part, the part that's supposed to sell the sales letter or the VSL or whatever that selling piece is, I think the content is what frames that. So give you an example is, if you guys are familiar with Ezra Firestone, he's a marketer who has a Shopify store called Boom, and what they do is they have a Facebook ad, and that piece goes to an article lander, and that article lander is filled with content and pre-frames their products pretty much, and how it's used in different use cases and things like that. And based on that, that's that micro commitment that leads them to the point of sale. So I think that's the content is where it plays the role in the funnels. It gets the person to the point of sale.
So it's that bridge.
That's it. It's like that bridge page. So it puts it in context. It captures the audience and gets them doing that micro commitment. So like, if a lot of affiliates as well. So if you have an offer and you put it on an affiliate network, they tend to have quizzes, or they tend to have some sort of piece of content or some sort of article that really bridges the gap, that educates the audience. And I think that's where the content really, has the ROI.
And so we talk about this idea of bridging. Steven just covered the importance of bridging it, especially when you're going from paid traffic with a cold audience. Now, what would you say is a mistake that most marketers are making when they try and create that pre-frame or that bridge?
I think the biggest thing is probably they don't understand their audience, so the content in there isn't relevant to the person they're marketing to. So when that happens, you're turning off a lot of people that arrive to your page. So you want to make sure that it's congruent with the ad, number one, so that way once they're clicking off the ad to the piece of content, that's congruent and you're actually continuing to sell them. I think congruency lacks a lot of the time if you go to a sales funnel and they just, let's say, paid traffic or Instagram ad or Facebook ad, they'll click the ad and the content will look completely different, the headline will mismatch, and then you're not going to get that click-through rate across to the funnel. So I think the biggest mistake is probably identifying your customer avatar and speaking to them in the same language as you did with that cold ad, whether it's native or Facebook or whatever, make sure it stays congruent.
Okay, so we're talking about bridging. We're talking about the congruency between your traffic source and your bridge page or your native ad. When we talk about that congruency, what's your biggest tip to keep that congruency?
I think the biggest tip is planning your customer avatar. Like, you've got to do all that stuff before you start running your ads. So spend the time to find out, your fears, your frustrations, what keeps your customer up at night. Build all that into the content before you start, launching ads. And once you've done that, it'll save a ton of time when you're building that content. So, let's say you've got a skincare product. You want to know, what are the issues people face? Is it wrinkles? Is it, they've tried everything, they don't know what to do? They're the things you need to address in your article, in your lander, in the bridge page. So go out, figure that out. Then when you're looking for your ad, make sure the colors are congruent, the headlines are congruent. Make sure that, when they're going from one spot to the other, they feel it's just a natural progression.
Awesome.
So that's hopefully, can give you a bit of an actionable step if you're doing that right now with your sales funnel.
Awesome. So, Steven, content director for ClickFunnels, #1 tool that we use here at the Lead Solution. Thank you so much.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
So that was Steven ESKETZIS, the content director for ClickFunnels. He runs their entire blog, their entire content. I want to ask you something here real quick, Down, because I know you were just soaking it in when Todd was talking about this concept of the big idea.
Yeah.
And we're going to dive into content. But before that, Corey was asking, do we have any software tools? And so I just want to bring up, it's perfect timing because Steven's a content director at ClickFunnels. And so anyone that's wondering from our standpoint, our #1 tool in our business is ClickFunnels. That's what we work with for all of our clients. It makes all of this easier to create these and put out, put these funnels out quicker without needing to know a whole bunch of technical stuff. So that's what I recommend. Anybody that's interested, feel free to check it out at leads.pro/14-day free trial. We'll put it in the comments. But Abong Eka's in the house. Let me just give a shout out to my man Abong. He is the prince of pricing. So it's good to see you, Abong. Dr. Ikena Finch, our social media director. Listen, guys, if you haven't shared this out, you know that we're dropping some bombs. So do us a favor, share this out. If you're on Periscope, swipes. If you're on Facebook Live, click the button. Let people know about the Lead Solution because we're in the house. Now, Dallin, hit me with the big idea.
Okay, so especially on online marketing, what you really want to do is you want to create a very, very pinpointed idea when you're coming out with any sort of campaign, any sort of funnel, whatever that it is that you want to call it, right? So, for example, I was talking with a really good buddy of mine last night in the solar industry. And he goes, listen, man, I want to come out with some funnels. I want to do some stuff. I'm seeing all this stuff like online, and I'm starting to understand and hear what you guys are talking about with funnels and recognizing what it is. And I said, okay, well, the hard thing about, just coming up with a funnel or an idea on the spot is you want to stay away from having this very broad opening. So, for example, instead of just coming out, having the ad that says, hey, how's your utility bills? Are you interested in solar? And then it goes through a process and you select what your energy bill is, and then that submits the lead, to the company running the campaign. Instead, we want to have more of a very precise, fine-tuned big idea. Or in other words, we want to have something that's going to cause some sort of emotion that's involved with the target audience that's in there. So, for example, solar, staying on the topic, it's a very political commotion right now in all sorts of different states and markets. There's all sorts of different people talking about, that the utilities are regulating it and all these different things. So the big idea here, we can take that concept of the utilities kind of taking over, wanting to shut down solar in different markets, and we can cater that to the people who live in those areas. So we can say, what's the #1 thing that the local utilities are trying to stick you with next? Kind of ... Get them into this sequence and segment. So that way we can rely on our content on our pages or these buckets that we've just been talking about to really grab some, not only focus, but we grab that focus through drawing that emotion, right? Through the people who are paying the bills in those utilities. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. And so, I just want to I want to take what you're explaining there and peel it back a little bit because we're going to do an entire show coming up on these concepts. This is a recap, but we could do one show on every single one of these things that we're talking to you guys about. So that's what we plan on doing. And at the same time, if there's specific things that you guys want to hear from us, that you want us to kind of break down or give you our perspective on, by all means, please drop those in the comments. Head over to leadsolution.com and sign up for our list and shoot us an email. We will get back to you, and we will make sure that we help you guys start to figure out how to generate more leads. But let's talk about that. Okay, so the big idea. Yeah, we're going to do a show on what my coach, mentor, and the gentleman that you guys will hear from at the end of today's show, Todd Brown, talks about. He's come up with this concept of the marketing funnel engineering grid. And at the core of that is where a lot of people struggle when they're trying to create a landing page or when they're trying to run ads, is that they're talking about a solution to an audience that doesn't even know that they have a problem. And so they're trying to pitch this product and pitch this idea to people that don't even know that they need it. So if you think of the concept of what Russell Brunson says, like fishing in the right pond, they're going to a pond that's super big, and they're trying to fish in there because they think there's more fish. But the reality is if they find a smaller pond, there's going to be more fish for them to catch. And so we're going to talk in detail on customer awareness and market sophistication and all that kind of stuff. But what Dallin was touching on is really at the core of starting to get your marketing campaign, your social media, your content, your marketing funnels, all of those to convert so that they make sense, is understanding how to talk to your audience or how to position what your goal is in a way that's going to pique curiosity and interest through this big idea. So with the big idea, right, Dallin, comes probably the one thing that most, if not all, marketers struggle with, which is the copy, right? And we know this because we've actually started working with some of these guys and gotten hired to write copy. And we joke about it all the time because I don't like writing, but it changes things when, you're writing for a purpose, and the purpose is to do sales. So let me see here. We've got one comment before we dive into things. And LaDon says she heard Steven speak on a webinar. And LaDon, let me tell you, I knew who Steven was before we went to marketing funnel automation, but Dallin and I got a chance to really spend some time with him, and I got to agree with you there. The dude is down to earth. He's awesome. We'll definitely be talking to him and doing some stuff in the future, right, Dallin?
Yeah. And to piggyback off what you were just saying, this is seriously like the biggest struggle that I see a ton with online marketing, with just businesses trying to run their campaigns and marketing. So you have this big idea, right, that you finally form, you finally find how that you want to reach out to your niche or your market, right? But then the struggle that we see is people have a hard time connecting those dots or being able to overcome maybe potential objections from their audience through the right type of copy, the right type of wording, content, things on their platform, social media, blogs, right? And so this is where everything like this literally is the bridge between a successful marketer or a successful campaign and one, right, that's not. And so seriously, what needs to happen is with this content, we're going to roll into this next interview here in a second, but when we have this big idea, and we'll go really into depth with this with some other stuff at a later time, but when you have this big idea and you're creating the copy, one of the biggest things that you want to do for your audience is be able to revolve all of that ideology around that big idea. So it's continuing to grab emotion, right? You want your audience and your customers to feel some sort of attachment or want to whatever it is, the product or solution that you have for them. But the other thing that you want to do, like I just mentioned, is bring up any sort of potential objections that any of these people can have. But you're not just flat out saying, well, what if this and this happens? Instead, you're mixing it in with a well-written copy of what could happen. Correct? Does that make sense?
So let's jump in. A lot of people aren't going to know. Well, actually, nobody. I would bet money right now. No one's going to know who Joe Schriefer is. Well, let me just tell you who Joe Schriefer is. So if you're a direct response marketer, an online marketer, a digital marketer, a solopreneur, whatever you want to call yourself, if you're in business and you're trying to find and create more leads online, you should probably be familiar with Agora Financial. So Agora Financial is one of the largest, most successful direct response companies, both in direct mail pieces as well as digital marketing pieces. And Joe Schriefer is the copy chief for Agora Financial, who oversees, edits, and distributes the copy and direct response campaigns for the Agora Financial segment of Agora marketing.
Yeah, Joe's been involved in some massive campaigns. I mean, we're talking direct marketing pieces, and to go off what you just said, not a lot of people know him. After getting to know Joe a little better, I don't think he cares if people know him.
No, he doesn't. I couldn't even find him on Facebook to send him a friend request.
Yeah,
so.
he's the behind the scene mastermind that is coming out with how to connect and seal all these holes in the content to make a successful campaign, right? Connecting that big idea and filling the gaps with awesome content, bringing out the emotion in a customer from A to Z.
Yeah, let me just address 2 comments, and then we're going to dive into Joe's interview here. So Abong says, great information. Abong, you know it, buddy. Funnels, copy, specificity, these are all the things. Abong knows what's up. So I appreciate you putting it in there. It's definitely, guys, if you want to set it and forget it type of funnel, that's gonna produce maybe some results here and there. But what we're talking about, and you'll hear Todd mention later, is these are the type of funnels that can really change your life. This is how you create a home run funnel that takes you from the outhouse to the penthouse in a matter of 30, 60, 90 days. That's what we're talking about. And I don't think most people set out with the intention of sort of being successful. I think everybody has the intention of knocking it out of the park. So why not understand what it takes to be an A player? And then Megan, rapping and rhyming is right up our alley. I mean, the lead solutions, pop culture. So if you've got some copy that's converting, that's in a rhyme format, I want you to shoot it over to me, because
I'm curious to see if it converted. You didn't say if it converted.
Yeah, we're gonna highlight it. So let's jump in and introduce everyone to Joe Schriefer.
What's up, guys? Christian Cotta here, live from MFA Live, and I'm with Joe, the copy expert from Agora Financial. And I just want to kind of talk to you real quick. One of the biggest things that a lot of new marketers probably overlook, and we briefly spoke about this, is copy. And copy helping convert any of your offers, your marketing. So being a copy expert, what is one of the biggest mistakes that you see new copywriters come across that they're not even aware of?
So I would say there's 2 big mistakes that all copywriters, if we ever see any copy that doesn't work, if copy falls flat, it typically falls flat because of one of 2 mistakes. Either number one, which is the largest mistake, is that it doesn't have a big idea. And I know we've spent a lot of time at MFA Live here talking about the big idea. So the big idea is basically going to be something that's emotionally compelling, it's going to be intellectually interesting, it's going to have a benefit to the prospect in there. So if there is a failure of copy, the number one reason is always going to be the big idea.
Or boring.
Exactly. Yeah. If it's boring, there's no big idea, right? If there's nothing emotional, there's no big idea.
That's the marker for no big idea.
If it's nothing urgent, right? There's no big idea. Yeah. So the big idea, of course, is going to have multiple components to it that make it a big idea. It feels new. It feels unique. There's emotion. There's curiosity in there. There's urgency in there. So that's the number one reason, of course, that copy fails, is that there is no big idea. The number 2 reason that copy fails is if a writer has a big idea, and they don't organize that big idea in the right way to persuade that customer. So if they don't address a certain objection that the customer may face, if they don't quantify why the pricing of that product is super, super low, if they don't show you that you can transform your life or transform your business at that particular price point, that piece of copy will fail. So either number one, it's going to be the big idea, or number two, it's going to be the organization of that idea. So if they have a big idea and they bore people during the middle of it, right? If they don't address a objection in the middle of it, if they confuse the reader in the middle of their sales copy, any of those reasons that would be to put the big idea down after you've already hooked it is a lack of organization and a lack of structure for that piece of copy.
So not making it exciting and just assuming that your reader or that your audience is going to be able to understand what it is you're offering them is probably the biggest issue that most of us as marketers are going to come across. And without giving away what Joe shared yesterday, we'll cover that here in a little bit. So Joe, I want to thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. Very nice to meet you guys.
Take care, bud.
Thank you.
So that was Joe Schriefer giving his top tips. We really wanted to be able to help our audience when we had a chance to talk to him. And Joe's inviting us onto some copy calls every Tuesday, which I'm really looking forward to, because what he did and what we want to share with you right now are what he calls, it's kind of a 5-step process. And Dallin and I have talked about this since we left Miami, about how we can take that process and formulate it and be able to give it to you guys in an easy to follow kind of step-by-step format. But we want to touch on it right now. And Dallin really did touch, leading into the interview with Joe, on the first two primary things, the concept of the big idea and then overcoming the objections. So these 5 things in order will help you increase your copy on your sales pages, your landing pages, video sales letters, content inside of your blog, because blogs, as you heard Steven talk about earlier, are becoming more and more important as sort of a bridge to your funnel versus just writing just to write. So we talk about your pitch, the big idea, down. We talk about the objections. What was your takeaway on the organization? And we'll move into the last two.
So basically, as this is being formed, and you got to remember when you're talking to an audience online, a lot of problems that marketers have, business owners have, we get really used to our own profession, our own, what we're professionals at, and we talk that language all the time. We're working in the back end of things. So like if I'm a dentist, I don't speak dental language as a viewer, right? Or as an audience that's reading blog posts. You kind of have to dumb it down and think of all the types of things that could potentially go wrong, or someone could think of based on that specific copy. So so that's what we talked about, is it's starting to get that
it's
those objections out of the way.
Yeah, kind of simplifying things instead of, I know I struggle with this. You tell me this all the time, is like, dude, people don't understand this stuff as much as you. And so it's starting to organize our thoughts. So when we have a big idea and we know what the objections are, now we can organize it so that we're just not talking all over the place and rambling in our pitch. And then he talked about moving into number 4, the fourth step of increasing your copy conversion was subheadlines. And so when you know what those objections are that your audience is going to come up with, and you know how you're going to address those, it becomes easier to create these subheadline sections where you're talking specifically on that one objection. And then, of course, last is what Joe called the fill-in. And really the fill-in is where you put your offer, how you do transitions between one objection to the next. And guys, if you're hearing this and you're like, wow, man, I just jumped in here. Now they're talking about this crazy like copy, copy breakdown and stuff. Don't worry about it. Like we said, we're going to do shows on all this stuff. We just want to recap and help you get caught up to speed on what you missed at Marketing Funnel Automation Live. So after Joe, after the copy, we walked away. I know for you and I, we talked about this, that this is one of our biggest takeaways. Let me just see real quick. I want to address and see what some of the viewers are saying. So LaDon says, thank you for bringing this into us. As an entrepreneur, I'm always trying to work smarter, not harder, and connect deeply with your clients. Yeah, so LaDon, when you know who your clients are, it becomes so much easier to start to understand how to develop your copy and how to tie all these things in. So I'm glad you're here. I appreciate you being here. And Megan, yes, love looking to learn from masterminds. So if you guys want to be part of our mastermind, if you're watching this right now and you like the content that you're hearing, obviously, again, we'll just ask, feel free to share this out if you jumped in and haven't done it. But also, for those of you that want to join us, we've actually just opened up our Facebook group, which we're not going to promote that all over the place. But since you're here with us and you're taking the time to learn, feel free to join our Facebook group after the show, where we'll start doing more of this type of stuff, dropping content in here, all of that. And you can do that by heading over or searching in the bar for Cash Money Marketers. Cash Money Marketers. That's our Facebook group. Or go to theleadsolution.com, sign up for our email list, and we'll send you a link for it there as well. So, Dallin, we're covering all this stuff, okay? Now you got copy that converts. Let's talk about traffic.
Yeah.
Okay? Of course, everybody wants to talk about Facebook traffic. We know something that they should know, right? And why don't you share with our audience? What is it that we know that they should know?
Be a little more specific. We know a lot.
I'm talking about Justin, our buddy, the biggest dude in the room, the one who brought down the house, Justin Brooks.
Yeah, Justin Brooks. I mean, this guy dominates. I mean, he basically, his background is more Google PPC, right? Pay per click kind of stuff. Google has very, very, very advanced algorithms. Why? Because there's a lot of people using Google, and Google can grab a ton of information.
So of course, the thing about Google is that it's intimidating, right? It's intimidating for people, but I don't think a lot of people realize. I mean, we realize it when we're creating videos to put up on YouTube, but I don't know that a lot of people realize that when you're advertising on the Google AdWords platform, you have the opportunity to hit both Google and YouTube. And so it's this cross promotion. And the other thing as well is Justin brought up that great concept. This is an idea I'd never really, I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but I didn't really think of it in this way, is that Facebook is people are becoming more and more comfortable on Facebook. So it's becoming more challenging to be able to get the same conversions and be able to keep the cost down. And so they're hitting this critical point where there's too many people trying to advertise. So they don't want to put them in the news feed. So it's getting more expensive. Whereas Google doesn't have quite the same limitations. And so it's not hard. It's just new, right? And if you understand a few key things, which we asked Justin in this next interview, what his biggest, what are a couple things that he would recommend to anybody that wants to start using Google PPC or the display ad network. So let's take it to Justin and let you guys listen.
What's up, guys? Christian Cotta here with Justin Brooks, PPC Master. And so I want to ask you a question just for whoever's watching, just to help them get started with another source of ads. So what do you think the biggest misconception that anyone has if they're not using Google, not using PPC, not using YouTube?
Biggest misconception right now is that Facebook is all there is, and that should be the one place everybody should be at. It's good. I'm not knocking Facebook, but Google's way bigger. Has a lot more targeting. They do have interest targeting. They do have custom audiences and lookalikes, and they have even more stuff like in-market targeting, where you can target people that Google knows is in the market to buy stuff right then. So It's just as good as Facebook. I would say better and definitely bigger.
And so, if anyone's watching this video and they're like, okay, I know I need to find another source and I need to get started, what's just the one thing that you would tell a brand new person to do to get started?
Yeah, so a couple things. One, it's not a lottery. Don't just, I got $500, I got $100, and you're gonna put it in there with a couple of ads, pull down the lever, and hope you get some ROI. That's not how it works. That's the lottery, and you can go to the gas station and play that game. But media buying it's a science, just like it's a trade, literally, that you can learn. And so I would tell you to, if you have $500, break it up into 5 $100 batches. Spend $100 at a time and test in each one of those iterations, and that's going to help you over the long run. The other thing is I'd rather see somebody spend $10 a day for a month than to spend $1,000 really quickly, because you want to be testing. And that's the biggest thing I can say is it's not a lottery. It's about getting things working over time.
Awesome. Justin Brooks, PPC expert. What's your website? Where they find you?
You can Google me. It's easier that way, but it's
Google the PPC guy.
Yeah, Justin Brooke, and it's dmbionline.com.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
So there you guys heard it direct from the man, the Google PPC man. Justin really is. I only heard about him probably about 6 months ago, and I'm starting to hear about him more and more. And the way he simplifies and breaks down Google makes it's really intriguing to us. I know we want to dive deeper into doing Google ads. And so here's one thing that I want to share with anyone listening. Why you should consider understanding Google PPC. And you tell me if you agree, Dallin. Aside from the fact that you can advertise both on YouTube and on the Google, just on Google in general, and the fact that Google is the largest search engine. But the thing that Justin said was that this in-market targeting, not just like on Facebook where you can put an offer in front of people that might be interested. Google has the ability for you to learn how to see who's in the market to buy something. So if you sell cars or if you sell houses, Google knows who's just sold a house or looked at a website that says, to pick up interest on, selling my house. What do you think about that?
Well, you dive a little bit deeper into this. Facebook, you can target very, very specifically based on interests and likes and maybe things that they've been looking up in other areas that you can grab these pixels and such. But Google's doing it on a different scale. Since people are using their search engine to look up all these things, let's say, for example, it's a mother who just had a baby and she's looking up all this stuff. And Facebook, there's to a point they can know on interest and that she's looking into baby stuff, but Google knows it on a whole nother level with way more data based on the precise things that she is wanting to have. So for example, when she's in her Google feed or when she's in her pages looking for certain things on whatever it is that she wants, that's when a marketer can start targeting those people inside of those search results. That's when it gets really, really creative. Let's see, we'll go to the comments here real quick. We have
shout out to Ebony.
Yeah, I just saw that. Ebony's here. She thinks Christian's a lead gen beast, so you better flex your muscles here soon. This will be the big league.
Abong nailed it there. Those top marketers, the guys that really want to compete, the people that really want to, the ones that are crushing it. There's no question as to why they're crushing it. People are like, oh, what are they doing that I'm not? Well, here's a prime example. Number one, they're doing it on Facebook, but they're also doing it on Google, and they're doing it on, YouTube, and they're doing it on Twitter. And we're going to do a whole segment on, stick strategies where we talk about how to keep your customers engaged and how to ascend them. mean, these guys are doing it in text message, phone call, and direct mail flyer. I think I got it right here. Like Russell, Russell just sent me, my funnel U stuff. I mean, look, guys, if you're wondering why we have kind of stepped up and said, look, we're lead generation guys and we focus on marketing funnels and e-commerce, because e-commerce, physical goods, and digital products, the next wave that you're going to see with this whole segmentation is combining those. The online, offline experience, how you incorporate video. And so, Justin, just learning from Justin is a great tool. We'll put in the comments down below after the show where you guys can go and grab a free Google PPC course that Justin offered. I got no problem shouting him out and helping him out, because we gained tons and tons of value bombs at MFA Live. So do you have anything you want to add to that, Dallin, before we start?
I have one thing, and you just barely touched on it, and that was YouTube. Okay, so Google, look at kind of how things are evolving here, right? We have Google, who owns YouTube. We have Facebook that owns Instagram, right? So there's all these different platforms, Facebook, Instagram. Everyone's starting to come out with stuff like this, like live production and all their own little like niches, right? Well, right now, since a lot of that is merging over to Facebook and, just little things in this niche, right now, YouTube marketing is actually very cheap. It's actually really, really cheap compared to a lot of things, because people that have their market inside of that, right? Inside of like the YouTube world, you can actually target them for pretty low cost, and so that's pretty good. So yeah, when we're talking about all this stuff with Google PPC and incorporating that, you kind of want to have this ability to almost cross promote or cross market on multiple platforms, and that's kind of going to lead into our last interview here, and that's with the man himself, Todd Brown.
Yes.
This is like why we went down here. Todd Brown has years and years of expertise in the online marketing world. And I think if he means something to anyone, I think it's you, Christian, right?
Yeah. I mean, so you guys, you'll hear me talk about this, whether it's on Periscope, Snapchat, here on Facebook Live. We got pictures, all this stuff. I fanboyed out a little bit. I'm going to be honest. Like, I kind of fanboyed when I finally got to meet Todd, because you know how much it meant, Dallin. I started learning from Russell about this stuff like 3 years ago, and then I found Todd through Russell's stuff about, I don't know, a year ago. But once I got into Todd's courses, once I started digging into his material, there was something there that pulled me. And so recently, when they asked us to start working with them on a very direct, intimate basis, it was a huge validation for what we've been able to do and how far I've been able to come in a short period of time. So yeah, when I got a chance to meet Todd finally in person, outside of, a Skype call here or there and a few messages on Facebook, it was pretty awesome. And what Dallin brought to, the question that Dallin brought up, I'm sure is going to benefit our audience a lot, because he's going to share with you guys something about how to start looking at your social media as a traffic source. And so why don't we jump right in and let Todd take it from here?
All right, so it's Christian Cotta and Dallin Greenberg, and we're here with Todd Brown, the man at MFA. This is his event, MFA Live. So Todd, I just want to find out from you, what's the biggest thing that you want everyone here and anyone that wasn't here to understand why you pull this together and bring all these great people here?
Why do I pull everybody
Yes.
here? Well, I think because there's a tremendous opportunity in when it comes to marketing the right way to grow a business, to scale your income, to change your life. I think the important thing is that understanding how to do it the right way, and understanding it's all about, it starts with strategy. It's all about strategy. It's all about understanding the things that we've talked about, the idea. It's understanding the marketing funnel thesis, understanding the structuring the sub-beliefs. It's understanding how to put together an irresistible offer, and when you get those things, the results that you can have, the impact that you can have are tremendous. When you don't get those things and you skip over all that and you go right to the tactics of marketing, you tend to struggle. And so I brought everybody together in this event together, and these experts and you guys and whatnot, to make sure that we did everything in our power to get everybody here to see and understand that.
Do you want to ask?
Yeah, one of the things that I've been wanting to ask is, I come from more of the strategy side, more of the development of a lot of these agencies and such, and you've been in the game for a while. Where have you seen with trends and with the evolution of a lot of these platforms, social platforms, marketing platforms, where do you see a lot of the trends pushing right now?
Well, I think the biggest trend that I would say is the need to, what I would say is, play nice with the platforms. In other words, you've got these third-party platforms like Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat and all these different platforms, and these platforms are all about user experience, right? Like, in other words, at the end of the day, what the platform wants is to make sure that they provide their users with a great user experience. The mistake that a lot of direct response marketers have been doing up to this point is trying to use those platforms in a pure direct response way. And what's happening is that these platforms are seeing direct response marketers doing things that are not necessarily providing their users with the best user experience, and so they end up booting these direct response marketers. Their ad accounts get shut off, their Facebook pages get shut off. I have one friend whose personal profile got turned off and whatnot. And so the trend is really already gone and is significantly moving towards, or will be significantly moving towards in the future, is blending direct response with native content. Really, the easiest way to say it is understanding what the platforms want in terms of user experience, in terms of what do they want to see from us in terms of content, right? And being able to give those platforms what they want, but then meshing it and combining it with direct response. Almost kind of like, I guess you could say, a direct response native content. Right? And so you've got to learn how to use content. You've got to learn how to create content strategically, education-based marketing, so that you're using the content, giving the platforms what they want, you're fully compliant with their ad department, and then you're able to use that content to move prospects down the path to then a direct response funnel offer.
Awesome. Yeah, relevancy.
Yeah, that's it.
The more relevant you can be.
And understanding that, like, look, you're not alone on the playground, right? And so you're going into their world, you're going into their ecosystem, and you have to play by their rules. The thing that what a lot of marketers try to do is they try to game the platform, or they try to sneak, right? They'll know that the terms of service say one thing, and they try to, like, they'll run a pure squeeze page, or they'll run they'll run an ad to a cold audience and send right to a cold squeeze page, and they think that, well, everything is good right now and I'm all good. But it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when their account gets flagged, gets shut, because that's not what the platform wants. And so instead of starting with, this is what I want, how can I beat the platform, it's what does the platform want, and then how can I mold that to direct response.
Awesome. So last thing, for anyone that didn't attend MFA Live, I know you got it next year again.
Yeah.
What do you want to tell those people about why they should come?
Because it's the single best marketing education that you'll get anywhere. I don't say that lightly.
We would agree.
We'll second that big time.
Yeah, you'll walk away a completely different marketer. Like, it's there's a reason why, this year, and we'll probably do it again next year, we ran a double your money back guarantee. We said that pay for your ticket. If you don't love it, let us know. I'll give you double your money back. You stay for the whole thing, enjoy it, I'll give you double your money back. Of course, we didn't have a single individual that asked for their money back. And that's just because I believe truly, and I'm blessed to be able to say this, that I think that we understand marketing on a different level, and we don't pander to the desire for just quick fix tactics. What we're all about, and why you want to be at MFA Live, is because this is all about creating a home run funnel that could change your business, change your life, change your income, change your entire path. And so you should be here.
And so for a lot of you guys that know me or don't know me, know Dallin, don't know Dallin. This guy, I credit this guy with a lot of it. So he's kind of like my Yoda, and this has been the
Does
reason
that have anything
why.
to do with the...
Nothing with the height.
Nothing with the height.
Yeah, the wisdom. Thanks, guys.
Cool.
So there you guys go. You heard it direct from the man, Todd Brown. That was, look, we just took you around the digital marketing world in less than 80 days. So I know this was this episode was packed. This is like putting 10 pounds of potatoes in a 5-pound gunny sack. We just stuffed it in there. But we wanted to make sure that we showed you guys exactly why and the importance of, getting out there and putting yourself out there and finding the right people. There's a lot of bad and misinformation on the internet. And so it's important that you find people that are sharing, that are willing to, first of all, share the information. And secondly, that they're actually doing it. They're actually out there putting it to use. So this is about our time. I just want to address a few things here. Megan, I know we talked when you were on Todd's webinar. Awesome. I'm glad you found him. That's the right spot for you to be going there. And of course, coming here and learning from us. And then Abong, thank you so much for being here, buddy. I appreciate it. Everybody that tuned in, make sure if you're not already, if you haven't gone over to theleadsolution.com, that you head over there, join our list, come be part of the Cash Money Marketers, our community of online marketers that are making it rain. Helping you turn it on lead mode, and jump into our Facebook group, Cash Money Marketers. For my friend Dallin Greenberg, my co-host, it's your boy Christian Cotta with the Lead Solution. Get out there, turn it on, go lead mode.